Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. The message came at 2:13 a.m. The kind of hour when grief feels louder than breathing. Unknown number. You should see what your wife was doing before she died. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. 5 years and strangers still found ways to dig her name out of the ground. I almost deleted it. Almost blocked the number. But grief does strange things. It makes you afraid of silence and truth at the same time. I typed back before I could stop myself. Me? Who is this? The reply didn't come. Instead, the phone rang. I didn't answer. For 5 years, my life had been measured in payments. Hospital bills. Credit cards I didn't know existed. A personal loan she'd taken for the house. Though nothing in the house had ever changed. Every month I mailed checks to people who had never met her, who spoke about her in account numbers and late fees. Friends told me to declare bankruptcy. My sister told me to move on. But love, even after death, can feel like a contract you don't remember signing. So I paid. I told myself it was loyalty. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was the fear that if I stopped carrying her weight, she would disappear completely. The next afternoon, I was outside taking the trash out when Mrs. Keller from across the street called my name. She'd lived there longer than anyone. The kind of neighbor who noticed everything but rarely spoke about it. "You got a minute?" she asked. Her voice had that careful softness people use around the grieving even 5 years later. I nodded. She looked toward my house, then back at me. I wasn't sure if I should say anything. Thought maybe it would just hurt you more. A tight feeling settled in my chest. Say what? She hesitated. About your wife. Before the accident. My throat went dry. What about it? Mrs. Keller swallowed. You should look at the footage. Footage of what? She didn't answer right away. Just turned and pointed to the small security camera above her garage. I'd seen it 1,000 times. Never thought about what it might have seen. That night, I sat at her kitchen table while she opened an old laptop. I saved it back then, she said quietly. Didn't know why. Just felt important. My hands were already shaking. The video loaded slowly, the buffering circle spinning like it had all the time in the world. Then the image appeared. My driveway. My front door. A timestamp from 6 days before she died. I leaned closer, my heartbeat loud in my ears. A car pulled up. Not mine. A man stepped out, tall, familiar in the vague way strangers sometimes are. Then my front door opened. And she ran to him. Not the way you greet a friend. Not the way you greet anyone you're supposed to keep secrets from your husband about. She threw her arms around his neck like she'd been holding her breath all day. I stopped breathing too. On the screen they kissed. Long, certain. Practiced. The kind of kiss that doesn't ask permission. Mrs. Keller paused the video, but it was already burned into me. I'm sorry, she whispered. I nodded because I didn't trust my voice. Because some part of me was still trying to explain it away. Maybe it was before we fixed things. Maybe it meant nothing. Maybe grief had rewritten my memories into something kinder than the truth. Is that all? I managed. She hesitated. No. She pressed play again. They went inside my house. Stayed there for 43 minutes. I knew because the timestamp told me. Because pain loves precision. When he finally left, she stood in the doorway watching him drive away, smiling. I hadn't seen that smile in years. I walked home in a daze, every step unfamiliar. Inside, the house felt staged. Like a life someone else had lived. Her mug still sat in the back of the cabinet. Her handwriting still labeled old storage boxes. I had protected these things like relics. Now they felt like evidence. I sank onto the couch and tried to remember the week before she died. She'd been distant. On her phone more. Saying she was tired. I had blamed stress. Work. Anything gentle enough to live with. The night before the accident, she told me she loved me. I used to replay that moment like proof our marriage had been real. Now I wondered if it had been goodbye. Or guilt. The unknown number texted again. I figured you deserved the truth. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Me? Who are you? 3 dots appeared. Then vanished. No answer. Just silence, and the sound of my own breathing, uneven in the dark. In the weeks that followed, something inside me shifted, not violently, not all at once. Just a slow cracking like ice melting from the inside. I stopped visiting her grave every Sunday. I paid off the last credit card and didn't feel proud, just empty. One evening, I gathered the photos from our living room wall. Not to destroy them, just to put them away somewhere quieter. Somewhere they couldn't watch me anymore. Love doesn't disappear when truth arrives. It just changes shape into something harder to hold. A month later, I went back to Mrs. Keller's house. To say thank you, I told her. She looked surprised. For hurting you? For ending the lie, I said. We sat on her porch in the fading light, two people listening to the ordinary sounds of evening. Cars passing, wind in the trees, life continuing without permission. Are you okay? She asked gently. I thought about the question. 5 years ago I had lost my wife, but I had also lost the truth, and spent years loving a memory that wasn't real. Now the grief felt different, cleaner, still painful but honest. I think, I said slowly, this is the first time I actually get to move on. She nodded like she understood more than words could explain. That night, I slept without dreaming about her. Not because I stopped loving her, but because I finally stopped waiting for a version of our life that had never truly existed. And in the quiet space she left behind, there was room at last for something new. Not happiness. Not yet. But peace. And after 5 years of carrying ghosts, peace felt like enough.